Good afternoon, everybody. Mario Quintero here with the One Stop Shop, produced by Mario's Home News, our weekly Thursday afternoon happy hour show, where we give you information regarding the status of the mortgage and real estate business. Today, I'm going to give you a brief summary of where we are today with the lending and the real estate, and then I'm going to go into my 88 turbulences of a mortgage or real estate transaction so that you can understand why it's important to work with experienced people that can navigate the turbulences that we have under normal circumstances. And this is not a normal time. So now more than ever is why you should be working with professionals that have tons of experience that can navigate anything that arises. So the first thing is that the markets are starting to open up a little bit on the lending side. Today we were able to finally lock in our first cash out refinance with a really aggressive rate. And today was the first one we've been able to lock in over 5 weeks. So thank God our client was patient, and they're happy that they were, because we're now moving that file forward for a cash out refinance. We anticipate that next week, starting on May 18th, that lending guidelines will begin to loosen up a little bit more, and a lot of the overlays, or some of the overlays, and some of the added guidelines that were added when this COVID-19 started will begin to ease up even more. Conventional and FHA are doing well. We just locked a couple of those in, and we hope to close on those by the end of the month. So once again, we see a light at the end of the tunnel. Liquidity is starting to come back on the wholesale side, which means that that money passes through to the retail side, and it actually helps in getting the economy going and transactions going, because people are still buying homes, people are still listing homes, and people need the money in their mortgages in order to close those deals. So once again, next week we anticipate more things opening up. So I wanted to share with you today a report that I usually share with my clients. It's called the 88 types of different turbulences that can occur in a mortgage and real estate transaction. And I go over this report with them to establish expectations of their transaction moving forward. And so some of the categories in this report of the things that we navigate on behalf of our clients are things that occur on the buyer side. So when we represent a buyer, there are basically 32 different things that can go wrong on behalf of the buyer when we're doing their mortgage. So we go over these things to make sure they haven't forgotten something, make sure there's no skeletons in the closet when it comes to getting their approval, and we want to make sure that we can overcome these 32 items. On the seller side, we want to make sure that the realtor on the seller side, we have approximately 14 items on the seller side that we may need to navigate during the transaction. And these are things that pop up regarding the property, regarding the maybe liens that are on the property, and things of that nature that we may have to navigate during the process. Then we also have to deal with the realtor on the other side of the transaction. Most realtors are able to navigate things that come up with the other realtor through negotiations and through discussions and keeping open lines of communication. But there's approximately 6 or 7 things that can go wrong with the realtor on the other side to be able to complete the transaction. Then we have the lender. On our end, it would be the wholesale side of the lender, underwriting, quality and control, verifications of employment, a bunch of different things that we have to overcome. And there's about 7 or 8 items under the lender. Then we have the actual property. The property itself can have issues, and that's one of the reasons why we inspect the property that we're going to list, so that we can overcome those situations, repair them, and actually make some good quality changes to the property before it goes on the market. You know, this morning I met with a seller of a potential listing and the contractor that we use to make the repairs. And we finally came to agreement that in order for me to list that property, the things that needed to be done before we go on the market. So the seller agreed. The contractor is going to start on Monday to get that house up to speed, and then we'll have a final inspection before we take pictures, some video, and put it on the market. So we might be about a good 2 to 3 weeks away from that, but that's key because there's a lot of stuff on the property side, the actual structure, that needs to be taken care of, and we don't want to run into situations that can kill the deal on the property side. The escrow and title company is about 10 to 12 issues there that sometimes can come up. And in a lot of those situations, they could be title issues, they could be lien issues, there could be past mortgages that weren't properly recorded on the property. So all of those things are handled by the title company. And in most situations, we have to navigate those. There could be situations with probate. There could be situations where there's multiple sellers and they're not talking to each other, so we have to navigate through that. So the escrow and title company is a big benefit when you have an experienced one, and our partner CNC Title Agency is great in resolving a lot of those issues for us. Then you got the appraiser. The appraiser comes in, whether we're buying or selling, and it could either come up at the appraised value, or if it comes below appraised value, then we have to navigate that turbulence and maybe renegotiate the price, make some concessions on the seller side. So those are things that are navigated, and there's about 6 or 7 things that can go wrong there. The last one is the inspections. So on the inspection side, there could be issues. Some of the primary issues on the inspection side primarily are the AC, the roof, termites, plumbing. Those are some major issues that we usually have to navigate when the inspection is done. Regardless of whether we represent the buyer or the seller, one of the big things right now is electrical panels. That's another thing we have to navigate. Many homes that were built in the 80s or prior to the 90s, there's about 3 or 4 makes of electrical panels right now in the industry are considered fire hazards, and they will go off and create a fire, and the house cannot be insured unless the panel is replaced. So those are situations that we navigate, and before we list a property, we check for the panel to make sure that we're going to pass. If not, we're going to ask that seller to do everything possible to get that panel changed so we don't have to go through that potential deal killer when we go to contract. So these are a lot of the things that we do, is investigate the property before we put it on the market, or investigate the property during the inspection period so that our buyers are protected on any of these things. And again, the key elements are the electrical system, the plumbing, the roof, whether it has termites or not, and whether there are any leaks around the property. So these are all things we do. And now with this COVID-19, we're adding some new turbulences to our list, because the lenders are verifying income on the buyers multiple times. They would, before COVID-19, they would verify income once. Now they want to make sure that the person still has a job up to the day of closing. So we have the regular verification of employment, then we have one midway, and then we have a final verification of employment. And we don't even get to do that ourselves. The lender actually has their internal processing and underwriting doing those verifications of employment. So that's a new one that's tied to the borrowers that can impact a transaction. The other verification of employment is whether they're still working full-time or whether their hours have been rolled back to a part-time basis. So we've been navigating a couple of those recently, and thank God that our borrowers have already gone back to full-time status. We have one other borrower that will go back to full-time status on Monday, and they'll go back to their regular 40 hours a week. So a lot of turbulence normally. And now with this COVID-19, new turbulence has been added to the loan process. So once again, if you have any questions about mortgage, about real estate, the transaction, a listing, whether you want to buy, sell, whatever it is, feel free to give me a call at 305-588-0451. Be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Once again, it's really good to be able to share this information with all of you. And if you think this information today will be able to help any of your friends or family, feel free to share this video to them. And I hope that you are all safe. Stay safe. And it looks like we finally got a light at the end of the tunnel. And I look forward to posting additional information at least once a week live, and the rest of the days during the week, some miscellaneous information that might pop up. Don't forget, all my videos are located at one location. It's marioshomenews.com. Every video that I have recorded over the last year and a half is on there in different categories for your viewing at your leisure. And so if you want to stop watching a little TV and all the negative news, feel free to go to marioshomenews.com and look at some of the videos. There's a lot of great information there. So you guys have a wonderful day. And once again, this is marioshomenews.com, the happy hour, one-stop shop. And have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.